Alright boys, how we all doing?
Yeah, good man.
Aye, all good.
Good. Everybody made sure you're 1 metre apart from anybody that you know.
Aye, well,
We've got to follow strict COVID rules here.
I'm fine.
Quite good. I've got no pals anyway. So
Well,
it's,
Right, so that's why you keep winning the ballots, man.
I didn't want.
You named it to go
I
with.
don't want to get the animal cruelty people up in arms, but I just horsed a cat into the living room, so
Aye.
we're fine.
You never know, mate. Edinburgh Council could be watching. They could be about to come chap your door, even though you're in Newcastle or wherever it is. But
surprise me.
there we go. Well, boys, some week in it. Back at it. New season. Pre-season's done. This is it. We're back, ready to go. That's why we've got two already on the injury bed. Brad and Shanks. They've been at the podcast Gull and Sand Dunes, haven't they? And they've not made it back.
Well, I think I was surprised at Brad's because I think this is almost a direct quote. He says, "Oh, these early mornings are fucking killing me." I take it he's not being a fully employed teacher just now, or are the kids off school? I don't know, but I got the impression that he's actually having to get up in the mornings now and go to work. So this is what happens when he gets stressed. He doesn't make the pod.
I think it's just being a dad more than
Is
being
that
a
what it
dad.
is?
Right,
Okay.
Alright, one of those badges.
enough.
Well, anyway, there we go. Welcome back to This Is My Story podcast, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, all of the opinions are our own, and we are unaffiliated to the football club. So, how many days we got? So it's Tuesday. League campaign kicks off on Saturday at home to Celtic. So today we'll go through, obviously, our expectations for the season. We'll do a bit of season review, do season predictions. If we can remember, we'll call it who won or who got close to being right for last season's season predictions. We'll look through headlines, as everybody will know. It's never a dull moment in the world of Heart of Midlothian Football Club. Once everybody had settled in for being absolutely apoplectic with rage from the performance and result on Sunday, now we've got the news about the ballots for the Celtic game. So we'll dive into all of that. And that's about it. The only thing. Let's keep it positive. The Moor is on his way out. Hopefully, there's a good thing to start the podcast on, innit?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think the figures that was spoken about was that it could save us, was it £100,000 or something like that? So that can only be a good thing in my view. The guy's absolutely dog meat. Get him the fuck.
I'm sure if we're paying the other team £100,000 to take them, though, whoever it is.
Well, I think as we've already seen the power of the podcast, let's get a GoFundMe going. Let's raise 100,000 and get rid of him for fucking once and for all. He deserves the first season's cunt. There you go. Get that needs to come out. That needs to come out pre-season as well, and get that dropped in there because he is an absolute cunt. So there you go.
It's still hilarious.
So, Ando, what you been up to?
Not a great deal. I was up in Scotland for a barbecue with some of my oldest pals on Saturday. Drove down the road Sunday. It was definitely a bit ropey. Looked at Tynecastle on the way past and thought, I've got a ticket. I'm no fucking bothering with this. I didn't want to get cooked in the sunshine, as I covered in the live reaction. Like a wee hot teapot full of piss, like what Tam was. So I hightailed it back down the road, watched it on the telly, and I'm glad I didn't go because if anyone tuned into the live broadcast on Sunday, you see I was a bit raging with it all. So I've calmed down now, so I'm back to DEFCON 4.
Right, and Sam, you obviously, other than sunstroke, did you get anything else out of the game on Sunday? And a freebie. And a freebie.
Another one.
A freebie.
Aye.
Everyone's a freebie in my life.
Accurate.
Just the biggest surprise of my weekend that Mark Ridgers is actually a goalkeeper. I didn't think he was when he was time at Hearts, so that was surprising.
Although I don't know if he
made
was
him a
a
goalkeeper,
or we just make him look like a good goalkeeper. We'll keep that for later on. And then Kev, what's been happening?
Unfortunately, I missed the game, or fortunately, I missed the game on Sunday. It was the other half's birthday, and we were already booked out for a meal. We had a cracking seafood starter, followed by a nice sirloin steak, bottle of red wine, a couple of drinks, beers after it, So I think I won.
So that's pretty much what we'll get up to the night. Catch us as always on the intros. You can get us on YouTube. Well, thanks to absolutely everybody that's subscribed as well. The figures on YouTube just keep going up all the time, which is amazing. So thanks to everybody for liking and subscribing, and smash that like and subscribe button. Keep it going, and then we can bring you more words from the sponsors. You can get in contact with us at the website, which is admin@thismystory.uk. You can follow us on Twitter at thismystorypod. You can catch us on Instagram as well, which is thisismystory1874. Cool, Ando, here's your wee bit. I signed up for it this weekend as well. I signed up for the Predictor and I signed up for fantasy football. So you want to tell everybody how they can get involved?
So if fantasy football is your thing, then you can head to your app store on whatever platform you have and download the Fantasy Football Scotland app. It's quite good. I played along with it last year for the first time and soundly thrashed Brad's. Was the only one I was better than, but I'm absolutely confident in my team choice this year, and we have a league, a public league that the guys at Fantasy Football Scotland have kindly set up for us, so you can play along with all the show hosts and fellow listeners to the podcast. I've noticed that there's a few hybies in there as well. They must be
I noticed that.
must
I
be
know,
there
that was
just
weird.
trying to be a bunch of fannies or whatever, but I'm sure we'll smash them all into dust. So I get involved with that if fantasy football is your thing. And obviously you'll be aware for any long-term listeners that all the hosts took a go at predicting all the Hearts matches last year, and we ran a sort of mini league between ourselves. We also ran a competition over the Euros, just as a trial for this season. So this season, we're going to be predicting the outcome of Hearts games, and you guys can play along. All right, so you can see just how good you are compared to all these idiots that are on the podcast.
How little you know
Aye.
about football, or how much shite you listen to
Exactly.
what we tell you. So there you go. That's cool.
The website for that
Cool.
is just thisismystory.uk/predictor, and you can sign up using one of your social accounts, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Google, or if you've got an Apple device, you can use that. So there you go.
So might as well just dive straight in there then. We'll go into the headlines for this week. As you will have seen, there's 4 of us on this podcast. If Shanks and Brad's had showed up, that'd been 6, and would have been only 10 off of the official attendance for Saturday, which the Edinburgh Council have allowed Hearts to have in. Fuck knows what's happening. I don't even know where to begin. We've got, what is it officially, 4,900 tickets or something? Is it 4,600 tickets or something like that we are now officially allowed?
I know it's got a 4 at the start,
Saturday.
but that's it. I read the article, a bit
4.5.
raging with it.
4,535.
Wow.
There we go.
No.
Still pushed, no matter which way you look at it.
Oh. Well, on the Sunday at a stadium that holds less than Tynecastle, there will be 2,000 away fans and also 4,500 home fans, which makes no sense whatsoever. And there will be 25,000 at Ibrox for the
17.
opening.
Yep.
I think.
Is that what it is? Is it for
17 or 18 now.
No, I don't think it is. It's went
It's
up.
more than that.
Something
Yeah, it's got a...
it's 23 or 25,000
you're right.
for Saturday now. They've had it reconfirmed. And Hearts again. So here's the official line from the club. Obviously, you'll have read the statement we'd put out on social media on the Tuesday as the day of recording, that we had spoken on and off to the club and just put basically all the gripes and stuff that was sort of common coming out of Hearts Twitterland to them, and basically they kind of made it very clear that this is a council sort of issue with what it is. So whatever, I don't know, now this becomes convoluted because if you see on Twitter, some folk are saying that, well, it looks like the council are applying the indoor sporting event rule, which is 1 metre distance between everybody in attendance, whereas some football clubs are applying and some councils are applying the outdoor sporting event regulations, which is up to 15 people in a bubble, metre apart, all that type of stuff. But whatever way we look at it, basically, because of the way COVID works, our COVID attendance with everybody being 1 metre apart, is only 9,000 or whatever. But the council essentially said no to our application for 9,000 and have come to the term of, if 9,000 is 100% of your COVID capacity, they allowed 25% in for Cove, they allowed 40% in for Cali Thistle, and now they're letting 75% in or something. That's fag paper maths. It's nowhere near that. It's 50% in for Saturday. But anyway, that's what they're allowing, 50% of that COVID attendance in for Sunday. It makes no fucking sense. And what I put out, and I'll reiterate here before I let you boys jump in, is forget about us, right? We will eventually get to go back and watch Hearts. That's fine. But we've talked about it before. We were there for the Savage interview. You know, the Gorgie Fish Bar got to be open. The Tiny Arms got to be open. Benson's was open. The Police Officers Club, BMC, all these places that have sat for 18 months basically doing nothing because they live and survive on match day revenue. And basically the council, who say that football clubs are the heart of the community, they want us to do all this great stuff, but when we're looking for a bit of support, a bit of here's a reward, here's a pat in the back for sticking with us, they basically turn around and kick them in the teeth, because you're telling me that those folk haven't been sitting idle, basically, maybe even still have people on furlough or whatever, waiting for football crowds to come back, because 19,000 Saturday at Tynecastle could make their year because they've been sitting doing fuck all. That's what's annoyed me the most. The fans has annoyed me too, and we are desperate to get back. But it's those places, it's those local places that have been suffering the most, and they're the ones that the council are supposed to represent the most. That's what's pissed me off about all of this the most. I said the most way too many times, but it's fine.
It is the most, though. The most annoying.
It is the most.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, surely this whole thing should be a government decision, never mind a local council thing. But when you look at when it's been, I think it was the Talking Tiny podcast broke it down in a tweet in terms of percentages. We're on like 23% of our full attendance, whereas you're looking at Motherwell's like 48% or something, and we're the only one in actually 20%, and starting with a 2 in terms of percentages. It's mind-boggling, to be honest.
And that's a good point, because if you think about that, all the decisions on how you guys, sorry, I know I'm down here in the sunshine where everything's cool, but how you guys are coming out of lockdown and the relaxation of the rules, everything has been a governmental decision. So Sturgeon, or First Minister, sorry, has basically said, right, okay, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, these decisions switch to local authorities. Why is that a thing? Because local authorities have not really had, to my best of my knowledge, any experience in having to decide or interpret the rules for themselves. They've just taken the guidance from the government, applied it unilaterally, and then and that's that. Now they're being asked to think for themselves and interpret the rules, and that, in the hands of a government or a council official, can only spell danger. And that's exactly what's happened here. It sounds like there's been a monumental fuck up somewhere at Edinburgh City Council. So I don't imagine that this will last any more than one game. I think our next home game, you can expect us to be the same as everyone through in Glasgow or up in Angus or wherever the other places are.
Basically, I think my understanding of what it is the club has to submit its COVID plan for fans to the council or whatever, based on social distancing, following the 1 metre rule thing, all that sort of stuff. And with the council and Hearts have come to the figure that's 9,000. So that's every row or whatever empty in between people, 2 seats minimum between each fan, all that sort of stuff. If you follow all that, then it gives you a total attendance of 9,000, right? So that's what my understanding is. That's what's been agreed by the club and the government as our official attendance for COVID until the regulations are relaxed. The problem is coming is that Hearts applied to have 100% of that attendance for the Celtic game, and the council are saying, no, you're only allowed to have 50% of that official attendance. And that's where I don't know why. I don't understand
why is
why
it
that
50%?
decision
Yeah.
has been made. Because then Hearts, in the same statement, have agreed that for our next game against Aberdeen, if the restrictions aren't reduced, then we will have 100% of our allocation. And the other strange thing, if you've been, I seen you and Murray and that Lawrence Brody having an interaction on Twitter where they were basically saying, you and Murray had kind of suggested, well, the government have said that we have to show a gradual, like a graduation of going up the percentages to get to the 100%. So theoretically, we could have had 2 friendlies in the next couple of days and had 70% of the attendance, 75% of the attendance, so that come the game on Saturday, we could say, right, we've ticked the boxes. Now we want 100%. Whatever way you want to look at it, and it's bureaucracy and nonsense. It is just there. It's like anything. None of the rules make any sense. Just like football fans back. This isn't even Hearts fans now that we're talking about. Every football club, whether it be Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen, Motherwell, their fans have bought season tickets. They've bought streams. They've bought merch. They've gave money whenever they needed to keep the clubs afloat and to make sure that they don't go into oblivion. And now the one opportunity that we have to say thanks, we've seen 80,000 at Wembley. We've seen 60,000 at Wembley. We've seen 20,000 at Ibrox on Sunday for the Real Madrid game, 10,000 the day before. There's no rhyme or reason for letting or locking football fans out. Just let football fans back in. It's getting stupid.
Yep.
It's getting absolutely stupid.
Agreed.
Is 100%, because you've just said there about the whole 1 metre rule. So effectively, us 4 could go to the Boozer on Sunday, which you guys did for the Cove game, sat beside each other, but as soon as you actually walk inside a football stadium, you've got to then be a metre apart.
Yeah, it doesn't
make any sense. I'm interested. I never knew about the whole outdoor and indoor arena proposal. That's just bizarre in my opinion. It's not like we've got a roof on the fucking stadium.
Aye, and don't quote me on that. That's hearsay from Twitter. The things that we've said.
Aye, no, I get that.
But do you know what I mean? But I would like to as well. Just again, we shouted out to say thanks to her after for arranging the Joe Savage thing. But you know, Kat from Hearts is on holiday this week. You know, she's taking a break with her family before the season starts. And you know, she's been inundated, as you will have imagined, you know, with loads of responses and loads of questions and all that sort of stuff. She still took the time out to answer the questions that I gathered from sort of Twitter and input to her and stuff like that. So I absolutely share the frustrations of the fans. We always do, and we'll always call the club out for decisions. We don't always agree with everything that they have, and there's clear issues with communication at the football club. But from our own point of view, you know, I'd like to say thanks to Kat for taking the time out with our family and stuff to make sure that we can answer questions, because some of you that are listening will probably know I've reached out to individuals that I've seen bring up specific things on Twitter to try and answer at least the best to my ability from things that I've heard from the club or whatever, because again, it's, you know, there's a lot of like hearsay and folk that make stuff up, and do you know what I mean? There's a lot of gripes out there just now. So again, I appreciate Kat taking the time to talk to us. Cool. So moving on for that, we've actually been linked with a football player. Hallelujah.
Mental, eh?
Have we really though? That's
like
when I read
you
that,
rain on this parade, Tam. Don't you rain on this parade. He's coming, and he's the second coming of Jesus. He's the Messiah. It's going to be the best thing since Loic de Moor. There we go.
Fuck.
That
no.
Anybody want to take a stab at his name?
It's easy. It's Benny banging him in.
There we go. That's what we want for a Benny, innit? We want him banging him straight in. So a young guy that came through, is he Congolese or something? Did I see that? Correct.
DR Congo.
Yep. Come through at Everton. As always with Hearts, he's kind of been plagued with injuries. But at this point, I would take one of you signing for Hearts. just for the sheer pleasure of seeing somebody signing for Hearts.
Make sure
so
You've got a link with the club. Surely you can make that happen.
Just make sure
Aye,
it's not
but I've
Tam,
also
though.
I've got a plastic knee, man.
I was talking about me, to be fair, but
So what is he, a midfielder, isn't he?
certainly.
Again,
Aye.
That's
To be
all I
honest-
know. You've read his Wikipedia page as well, eh?
Right, so when we go to when we do our season reviews later, that's the only a good thing is that two things is it's good that we're linked with a player, but two, it's that's one of the positions I think that we do need strengthening. So it's good to see that my worry after we bigged up Joe Savage and that he spoke amazingly well and all that sort of stuff was, the first signing would be a backup goalkeeper or then another right back or something. A bit for God's sake. It's good to see that the people that we're actually linked with are in the positions that we need strengthened in the most. Again, the transfer window doesn't shut for another
It's like
what is it?
4.5,
5
5
weeks. Aye.
There's still plenty of time to bring players in, but it's not lost on anybody that the season does start in 4 days. And we can't talk about transfer rumours, but obviously the big one that broke this morning. Obviously Celtic's interest in Craig Gordon.
Oh, God, man.
Don't even start me.
Well, the good thing is it shows you how shite we've been for the past 3 or 4 seasons, that normally that would have been Jamie Walker or Liam Boyce or whoever the best player in the team is suddenly found the papers have found a granda that used to be a Rangers fan or a Celtic fan and brings, he's always wanted to play. Benny banging him in. I bet you when he was in the Congo, bet you he loved Brian Laudrup. When he signs for us and does amazing, that's what it'll be like. That's what he had the posters on his wall, or Brian Laudrup.
It's just
kind of shows
it's
you.
so predictable. Kevin and I were talking about this pre-show before everyone else dialed on, which is in the days leading up to a Hearts versus Celtic or a Hearts versus Glasgow team game, there's always some sort of dog shit article in one of the red tops that's it's just absolute utter nonsense. It's designed to try and destabilise any sort of preparations. Gordon will be sitting there reading that going, fuck off, what a lot of pish. There's no way I'm going back to that shit show of an outfit. It's just nonsense. It's not even funny anymore.
They do it to
the Daily
everybody.
Record got exactly what they wanted, though.
Yeah,
we're all raging.
And they get, of course, that isn't lost on anybody or whatever. But again, it's not just even a Hearts thing. They do it to everybody.
Yeah.
You just wait till Rangers or Celtic are playing Hibs and it'll be the linked with Kevin Nisbet or they want Martin Boyle, and it'll be the same if Liam Boyce starts scoring goals. By the time we go to play Rangers at Ibrox, if he scored 3 or 4 goals in the league this season, he'll be a boyhood Rangers fan, wants to go, or Steven Gerrard's it's just like you said, it's so predictable. And again, it brings it round to everybody. Well, to be fair, it wasn't everybody. You could see the folk that work in sports journalism or whatever were all like, this is rubbish, no one will ever pay this and nobody will ever get behind it. The idea that Rangers have said that they're going to charge people in the press for access to the club, and everybody's like, it'll never kick on or it'll never take off and all that. And I think, fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Charge them. Do you know what I mean? Ban them. Fuck it. I hate them all. Sick of them. They get, like you said, that's just exactly the type of stuff that we have. We get the patronising stuff last season. Robbie's doing a good job. The people that we spoke to, they didn't even know the facts. You tell them some facts and they're flummoxed. They've got no idea what to say, because the point is they don't actually care. Do you know what I mean? They get invited onto a programme, they say, aye, that's fine. Oh, by the way, you're talking about Hearts. All right, cool. They do 2 seconds worth of research and suddenly think they know the fan base and all that. And it's just, they sit in here, they don't care about anybody that isn't Celtic or Rangers. And the crap that you've seen today, Gordon's going to go, let's go get Celtic to go back. And all that. It's just pure nonsense, man. Charge them.
Mm-hmm.
Charge them all.
Totally agree.
Vladimir Romanoff was right when he put out monkeys and when they put out nuts and bananas and all that for them, didn't he? And just said they were just
Media monkeys.
Media monkeys for the old firm. That's exactly what they are. He absolutely nailed it and called it right.
Agreed.
So, any other headlines that have came out this week that you've made you laugh?
Something that made me laugh. Shea Logan signing for Cove Rangers. That's a laugh.
Aye. Well, it'll soon be Sockton, won't it? It'll be like the Sockton 11 or something. Man, why does he keep getting arrested?
I've no idea. Yeah, but
That's no libelous. He has been arrested like twice or something in the past like month. Don't
oh,
sue
has
me.
he?
Aye.
Right, okay. I thought we were about to make a joke that I was probably gonna have to cut there, but that's fine.
Aye.
Okay.
No, factual information.
Cool. So that'll be that for headlines this week. Another dull week in the world of Heart of Midlothian. Never a dull moment, eh?
Never.
Right. We'll talk about Sunday briefly, because obviously we've done our live reactions or whatever. It was Shanks and Ando did that for us on Sunday. Tam, you were actually there in person at the game. What was your overall view on it? How was it?
You're probably going to hate me because I know there's a lot of negativity surrounding it, but second half was actually a lot better. There was plenty of chances, but Jesus Christ, how many did we miss? But there was so much like pedestrian pace to the game that it just reminded me of much of last season, and it kind of scared me that we could just fall back into that after having 3 or 4 great results before that. Well, great results against, I don't know, whoever.
Do you want to show the camera the blisters that are on your hand for your happy clapping on Sunday? Are you just happy to be there?
I've
were
got
you?
blisters everywhere, man.
Right.
Like, I didn't put any sun cream on.
Get the packed
I'm just
lunchbox
peely
out. How
eye.
many signatures did you get? Come on, get it out. Show the boys. What did you get?
I met Harry Harry.
You got two shinies, swapped Gary Locke for a couple of shinies of Rudy Scatcho and got your packed lunchbox signed.
That is class.
Did you try and take a photograph of Chris Sutton?
No, not after last time.
Okay.
But he was right in front of me again because I was basically in the same seat, so that was nice.
Aye, that would be there was 2 worries for me on Sunday. First, Mihai Popescu could have easily replaced John Suter, and we could have stuck with 3-4-3 and played exactly how we've been playing all pre-season. We didn't. We played 4-2-3-1. The system that haunts Hearts, that haunts Robbie Nielsen, that haunts the whole Craig Levein mantra of the football club since the day he took over. And all we did is exactly what you just said there, Tam. We slipped right back into all of the worst bits about Hearts last season. Sideways passing, no width, everybody playing narrow, ball into feet, nice touch, backwards pass. Ball into feet, nice touch, backwards pass. For large waves of that match. And for the first 20 minutes, I don't even know if the players truly understood where they were playing or what they were doing. There was points where it looked like Andy Halliday was playing at centre back. Liam Boyce was in the middle of the midfield. Liam Boyce at one point was playing left wing. Nando was on his summer holidays, was just wandering about. And that worried me because we'd been building momentum, and what's something I'll go on to the season review as well. It's like we're 10 undefeated now or whatever, and I get it. But we're not playing Arbroath and Alloa and Morton and all this crap anymore. This is proper stuff now. We stop pissing about. Like, this is Hearts are back where we belong, so we say, and we need to start playing with a bit of swagger. We knew, and this is to my second point, which annoyed me about Sunday, was before a ball was kicked, we knew that we had to score 2 to be seeded. We were already through, so if we didn't care about scoring 2, we could have played the kids because we were through. We played the strongest team that we had on paper, and before the match, Robbie told us that we were gone out because we wanted to be seeded and we needed to score goals. And that's what we watched. It took Jamie Walker coming off the bench with a bit of magic. Now, yes, Mark Ridgers was phenomenal, and we missed 2 or 3 absolute sitters. But that reverts back to what we saw about the worst bits about Hearts last season. When we play Celtic, we play Motherwell, Aberdeen, St Johnstone. We're not going to get away with Cochrane making last-ditch defending to get the ball over the bar. We're not going to get Michael Gardine at 58-year-old putting the ball wide. We're going to get punished, and we're going to get punished badly. And that's what really, really worried me about Sunday. And it could have been all avoided because there was no need to change the shape. None whatsoever. Tam.
I'd just like to point out, if we're playing Liam Boyce, we have to play him in his best position.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I get putting Ando in for a game, get him a run out because he's not really played, but my God, if he's our best outfield player, essentially on paper, we would say, he has to play in the centre forward, and putting him in that number 10 role to fit somebody else in just doesn't work. And going into Saturday, he has to be playing that striker's role.
Right. 100%. And Ando will come to you in a wee second. The other point as well is the fact that it not only affects Liam Boyce's game dramatically. Gary Mackay-Steven and Ginnelly were anonymous. They did nothing on the game on Sunday, and that's because they didn't have the partnership that they forged over the past 4 or 5 weeks and all that sort of stuff. And that's what annoys me. Ando.
Just, I don't know what sound like a book of cliches, but and I don't want to go over the old ground that you have just covered, but that change in shape, where we've been playing, and I spoke about this a little bit in the live reaction on Sunday, is that when we play the alternative shape that's done so well for us, there's, you know what, our build-up play isn't too slow. There's more intensity about it, right? Whereas when we revert to the 4-2-3-1, and we've covered this in previous episodes, we absolutely, in the first 2/3 of the park, it's, you know what, it's brilliant. You could be looking at Barcelona. It's the final third. Nothing ever happens. People are wandering about aimlessly, back to goal, the whole thing. It's just crap to look at. It's not entertaining, and it's not getting results. Absolutely needs to be put in the bucket. It's, again, don't want to go over all ground, but yeah, the 3-4-3 or the variations that we've been playing up until now need to be brought back for Celtic. But then you also have to balance the fact that the quality of the opposition we're playing. Who have we played? Bloody Peterhead, Cove and Stirling. You should be smashing these guys. So, you know what? This was probably the sternest test that we've faced. Inverness are the best team that we've played so far this season. And we nearly got caught out. So that's kind of why the wind was taken out of my sails in terms of positivity after that result on Sunday. So
There'll be many in your boat as well. Kev, what was your thoughts?
I've got to, firstly, I've got to congratulate the media team at Tynecastle. They put out a tweet on Monday morning. It made it look like we actually created shitloads of chances and we were just unlucky. But from what I've seen of highlights and such like, it comes back to, as you rightly say, there was no width. You know, what's the point of having GMS and Ginnelly, both wingers? Why are they coming so far through coming narrow? Again, it comes back to that 4-2-3-1 formation. Let's stick where it is. And I might be in a minority here, but I generally would prefer to watch Hearts play attacking football and try and actually go and win a game and challenge the opposition, especially something like Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hibs, those kind of clubs when they come. I'd rather go and challenge them and ask questions of them and play a 3-4-3 and get beat 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. As long as we've actually had a chance, we've had actually a go at them.
Right.
This whole attitude of let's sit back, let's play 4-2-3-1, and let's make it really difficult for the opposition, the club that are coming to play Tynecastle, a ground that we all talk about how it's difficult for other clubs to come and play at Tynecastle. The fans are on top, and okay, we're not going to go back into the fan situation with regards to attendance and such like. But the whole aspect is go and challenge them. We're the home team, and this whole idea. Suter took a knock against Stirling during the week, as you rightly say. Popescu could have came in, sat on that side of the pitch, no problem at all in that same formation. We've all seen Mikey Smith play centre half, and play centre half really well because he's so committed to winning every single challenge. So for that point of view, this whole idea of changing things, I get it that sometimes you want to change just to keep the opposition on their toes, but nah, there was no need for it on Sunday, in my opinion.
Aye. And not to play Tam's card here and be a happy clapper, we did batter Califistle. There's no point in getting away from it. We did create hundreds of chances. We never took them. And again, that takes you back to last season, because when we got knocked out against Alloa in the Cup, we battered them. We created loads and loads of chances.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it just goes back to it's when we start slow, we play in that formation, players on their right bit, they're knowing the right, they're no impact in the game, which they are. Ginnelly drifts inside, Gary Mackay-Steven drifts inside, and suddenly you have Nando, Boyce, Ginnelly, and Gary Mackay-Steven all in the centre of the park looking to get the ball. None of them are out wide. There's no balls going into the box and all that, and we know all that, and that's what worried me the most about that. I wasn't annoyed about us lacking or no making chances because we made more than enough to win 6-0. But it was just the fact that it's the snowball effect that when we play 4-2-3-1, you start to see the laboured play, the slow play, and then we miss chances. And then you can start to see the pressure build on the players. Do you know what I mean? They start to realise we need to score, man, and we aren't getting it. And then you can hear there was a point on Sunday you heard Lee McCulloch shouting, stop passing fucking side and back. You've done it all day. And that is literally what he shouted. I heard them. And it takes Jamie Walker coming off the bench with an unbelievable finish. Again, like Dunfermline at home when he did last year to save the day. And that, for me, it's a big worry going in to play against the actual big boys. So that rounds it off for Cali. Again, we have to be rounded and say St Mirren got seeded because they got a 3-0 COVID victory. How does that work?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like we've won 4 out of 4, not conceded a goal, 12 out of 12, and we are unseeded. Whilst teams that haven't played the full games have been awarded 3-0 victories, they managed to get the seeded spots, which I think is a bit of a farce. So Hearts did exactly what they needed today. The annoyance is the fact that, like you said, we've drawn Celtic in the next round of the Cup when we could have avoided it pretty easily if we'd managed to just play with a little bit more zip and a little more tempo. So we'll do the last bit of the thing where we'll do season predictions, but now we'll just do sort of season reviews. So Tam, we're now Tuesday, league kicks off Saturday. What's your gut saying for the season ahead? If we look at the opening 5 league games and cup, what's your expectations? What do you expect to see Hearts do? What would look like? What does a good opening start to the league look like to you?
It's a tough 5 games, isn't it, if my memory serves me
correctly? It's Celtic. So it's Celtic at home, St Mirren away, Celtic away, Aberdeen at home, Dundee United away, Hibs at home.
Right. To be fair to you, I think we're going to have to look at getting at least out of that, I would say 9 points, maybe a bit more going into it. Backs are already up against the wall, like with the fans already for Robbie, so he needs to get off to a good start, and it has to be what we just spoke about in terms of quick pace attacking football, really going at the teams, and that's the biggest thing. But I still feel we need about 3 or 4 new signings, and obviously if there is a case where John Suter gets knocked or somebody else that's important in a position that we kind of need somebody, we're going to struggle if we have to go to our sort of bench or our other players that are in there, because we've not got the depth that we need. So that's what I would want to see going forward, to be fair.
So how many are we winning? How many are we losing? Are we going through in the cup?
I need to look at the. Well, I'm going to say it now. We are not going to go and win at Celtic Park. I'll put that out there. And Robbie Nielsen's comments on Sunday after the game saying that, I can't remember exactly what he said, but
saying it was a good draw for us.
An excellent draw. Yeah, well, aye. We'll leave it at that, to be fair.
That's a lot of garbage. I guarantee when the players went back down the tunnel, they were sat in the dressing room going, I can't wait to get Celtic away in the cup. Fuck it, it's not a great draw for us. Absolutely a lot of shite.
Aye, that was very well done, Tam, at avoiding saying anything remotely negative about the opening of the season or sticking any colours to the mast. Well done, Kev. Which same to you.
What do you want me to say? Come on. I have to be the resident happy.
I'll show you how it's done in a minute, Tam.
Right. Okay. So looking at those games running up and including the first Edinburgh derby of the season, I am taking 5 points and out the League Cup.
Right.
That's what I believe.
So what does that look like to you? So where are the 5 points coming from? Is that with or without a derby win?
If I'm being honest, I'm looking at here and I'm going, we're lucky if we get a point at St Mirren, because for whatever reason we can't play in Paisley.
Yep.
I can see us getting a point against Aberdeen at home, even though they were pretty gash last season, and we don't know what they'll be like under Stephen Glass. I can see us losing at Dundee United, and well, we've got to beat Hibs, haven't we?
Aberdeen looked very, very good in
Did
the
they?
UEFA Cup.
Changed my mind a wee bit.
Aye.
They looked
No.
very good.
I still think we'll beat them at
Scott
home.
Brown makes a massive difference to them, and I hate saying that, but there we go.
Right.
It's a different thing.
Yep.
Right, so out the League Cup, 5 points.
5 points from the opening 6.
So we'll come. You never actually said anything for it, or you did, but we couldn't hear you for the first opening bit of what you were saying. Did you say a draw at home to Celtic?
I said actually defeat at home to Celtic.
Oh, right.
I can't see it. I can't see us doing anything because I don't think we're creative enough. Even with
So a draw at St Mirren, a draw at Aberdeen, and beating Hibs. That's your 5 points.
That's my 5 points. 2 draws, 1 victory.
Right. I've got a follow-up question for all of you after we go round the tables. So Ando, what's your predictions? What looks like a good?
So
What do you make of this?
aspirationally, I want 9 points, but in realistic terms, Celtic at home on Saturday will be a defeat. St Mirren away will be 1 point. We'll get a draw there. Celtic away in the cup, we are out. Aberdeen at home will be a draw. Dundee United away, I reckon we'll get 3, and we'll beat Hibs at home. So I'm saying 7 points and out the cup. That is in realistic terms.
Okay. So here's my follow-up question.
Do you want to know where my 3 wins are coming from? Because you didn't ask me that.
No, because no one
Nah,
cares. You didn't even know. You don't even know who we're playing, man.
You've had your bit, Tam.
You just want Hearts to win everything anyway. You probably still think we're playing Montrose or something, right?
Just because Shanks is no here, can give me that card?
Let's be realistic, right? And I know people will get annoyed at us being like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." The noise about Robbie's still here, right? You can pretend and you can live in whatever parallel universe you are, where you think that the fans aren't sitting waiting for one mistake to jump on the get Robbie out part, because it's there. And that's why we said at the end of the season that this was always the risk. It doesn't, when you bring back a new manager, you bring back the old history, and you're always just one defeat or draw away from all of that noise coming straight back. And that is exactly what will happen. It doesn't matter what happens, we will always revert back to Brora Rangers, Alloa, losing to Queen of the South, all that sort of stuff. So, what sequence of events do you think has to happen to keep Robbie in the budge out little T patter away?
For me, I reckon that, we've just talked about points tallies and all that sort of stuff there. What at the end of this run of games, what keeps Robbie in a job for me is not the fallback Robbie Nielsen, the emergency go-to 4-2-3-1. Someone covered it earlier in the episode. If we go into all these games, play 3-4-3, and it's it's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more attacking, and ultimately we become a cropper or whatever, we end up getting beat in these games, fine, I can live with that. Because he's went out and he's tried. If he goes into these games and it's 4-2-3-1, the same shite that we watched last season, and it's that match after match after match, we've maybe come close, we've had an odd wee chance, but ultimately we've got nothing from it and been pumped anyway, then nah, that's not good enough for me. I want what we've seen in the last 3 or 4 games, that change of shape, following through for the first 5-6 games of the season and see where we go with it. I wouldn't criticise him for that, but he has to be brave.
Yeah, that's fair. Kev?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think if he does fall back into that 4-2-3-1 after, let's say, not picking up any points after 3 or maybe 4 games, I can actually see him being at the door before middle October, and I think we've got an international break.
Well,
I know that's a big big statement. We all know perfectly well, and Ando, you and I spoke about this beforehand about his sort of safety net, which is Budge being on the board, and she wants to give him time, etc., etc.
Mm.
But I think it might come to the point where other people on the board if it's a a democracy, then from that point of view, I think the other voices will be heard, and they may just be louder than the others.
Well, she doesn't have a voice on the
Is that
footballing
all
side
gone now?
of it anymore. It falls purely under McKinley, is his name,
Andy,
Yeah.
and Savage is where it goes. And I'm going to refer back to a Savage interview here for where I stand on this, because people will hammer us and say that we're anti Robbie Nielsen and all that, and that's fine. I don't care. But one of the things that stuck out for me when we spoke to Joe Savage, when we spoke about last season, the first thing he said was the Cups were a massive disappointment. That was his first sentence. He says the Cups last year were a massive disappointment for Hearts. Well, we're going to go out of, we could potentially go out of the Cup at the very first time of asking, because let's not kid on, Aberdeen, I don't think I've ever played in the group stages of the League Cup because they finished fourth and above. Rangers, Celtic, the usuals don't. This is the first season, I believe, Motherwell have ever even played in the group stages of the League Cup.
In the history of this competition, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
this format.
shouldn't be playing these stupid division things. That's the number one indicator that our season hasn't went to plan, is that we are playing in these silly little regional knockout things. So no Hearts fan worth their salt, in my opinion, can turn round and say, but Robbie won 4 of the group stages against fishermen and part-time Jannies and all that sort of stuff. No one cares. The first real game in this competition is Celtic, and we stand to potentially go out. So if you're looking at it purely from that, Joe Savage said last season the cup competitions were a massive disappointment. Well, we're on the verge of another massive disappointment straight away in the cup by not getting past the first stage. The other impact of that is the fact that we've spoke about it here with attendances. The money the football club lost from Hearts going out to Alloa last year in cup revenue, the money that we lost in cup revenue going out to Brora, those things affect the balance sheet in COVID.
Yep.
We can't afford to go out again at the first round of asking. Now, this is hindsight. We haven't been beat. We could go to Celtic Park and win. Amazing, great, superb. But the fact is that the line in the sand has been drawn by Savage, in my opinion. I don't want Joe Savage to be a used car salesman. It's been 3 weeks or 2 weeks since we last spoke to him. Said signings were coming in. He spoke a great game. He was brilliant. He was dead bullish. Well, we're now further down the line. No signings have came in. We have not been seeded. We haven't made the number one objective of the League Cup group stages, which was to win the league and become seeded. I know I'm not kicking them, but they did brilliant, won 4 out of 4. But the biggest test comes on Saturday. This is the real stuff. We start to play the big boy teams on Saturday. We lose at home to Celtic, fail to win at Paisley, and then go out of the League Cup. I will bet you my house there's protests at Tynecastle. 100%. Because fans are already annoyed. Look at it now. The guys tweet to say the Sky Lounge has got 25% off. There's 50 comments for Hearts fans saying, sign somebody, sign a player, get the manager out, all that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that that's indicative of the whole support, but I always use the analogy. You have a cake and you cut a slice of it, you're pretty much going to know what's inside it, because that's what happens. Do you know what I mean? So you can't, if the 50 comments are on the same page, we're all pretty much on the same page, that goes up the scale. So it's a really, really, really difficult opening to the season. We haven't beaten St Mirren and Paisley in a decade. We haven't beaten Dundee United in Dundee for 5 or 6 years, albeit they've not been in the league to beat them. We haven't beat Hibs or Celtic at Tynecastle since 2018. We haven't beat Celtic at Celtic Park since 2012.
So the last 2 victories we've had at Celtic Park have been
We're in the League Cup.
in the League Cup. Yeah, so that's the only tiny crumb of comfort. And thanks to Kenny, who was on the live chat on Sunday during the live reaction for that.
So, but they're like, that's a really, really, really difficult opening to the season.
Absolutely,
Giant. That's a really tough start, and to get positive results, we're going to have to rewrite our recent history. You know, he's going to have to go win at Paisley. If he loses to Celtic on Saturday, he'll have to win at Paisley, because he can't start the season 2 defeats in the league and out of the League Cup. there's just too much negativity already here, and the ball's not even been kicked. So it is very difficult. So let's talk about we've spoken about the first 5 games. What about for the season? We'll come to season predictions in a minute. We'll go through it properly, but just how do you see the season panning out, Tam, for yourself? Where do you think we'll finish? Who will be the standouts? Who do you think the manager will be coming the end of the year?
So go through the full predictions we've got.
No, just we'll do that in a wee second. Just a general discussion. What's your overall vibe for the season before we've kicked the ball?
I'm thinking about a week ago I would have said we would be right kind of up there, but that's kind of been drained out of me. So I'm thinking 5th or 6th, mediocrity finish. We won't do very well in the cups. And again, it's all based on if we can get more bodies in. I think my gut feeling is I think Robbie Neilson will still be the manager by the end of the season, to be honest with you. I know what you're saying, but I feel it's going to be the same old. There won't be that reaction that the fans want if there is a bad spell, which is all hindsight and that and future telling. But I just feel that it's still going to have that sort of long-term plan in place, and it'll still stay with him.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're meaning. Kev, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with Tam. Fucking that must be late. That way before Sunday's game, the way you looked at it, the way the team was being set up, and the way they were playing, you were maybe thinking, yeah, do you know what? The season's just around the corner. We're performing well, and we're creating chances. But that, of course, came crashing down on Sunday just through the sheer performance that and the way we set up. So again, I think mid-table. If we go into the season, we don't make the kind of signings that we really need to make. I can see it being mid-table, even all the way down to 8th place. That's how bad I think it could well be. I'm taking on the Shanks position from last season, and I do worry about it. I do genuinely worry about what it's going to actually look like if we do get off to a bad start. And I don't want to be that person that kicks Robbie. But at the end of the day, the final, the old hat lies with him. So for that point of view, he's got to roll with it.
Yeah, gotta roll with it. You gotta take it.
I can't believe how negative we've been. We've not lost a game in 11.
Here, wait.
I've
not had my
and I've not had my go either.
I go Ando
right.
next.
Okay, so as it stands now, based on everything I've seen in the League Cup matches and just absolutely everything so far this season, for me, we're bottom 6 next year. I'm thinking 7th or 8th. We are relying on too many key players throughout that squad. Nielsen, for me, I don't think he knows exactly what his best shape is yet. I know he's experimented with this 3-4-3. We all seem to think it works. Then I think there's going to be too much jiggery pokery, and I can't believe I've just used that as a phrase. Then there's going to be too much jiggery pokery in the early part of the season as he panics, trying to scramble to find his best formation and shape and team, and that ultimately is going to cost us points. We'll sort of fade away into mediocrity based on what I've seen so far. Now, I do reserve the right to review that if we do sign a couple of players between now and the end of the transfer window. That could all change, but based on what I've seen so far just now, it's a mediocre finish, and we're going to be 7th, 8th, to put a number on it. Is honestly where I see us.
Okay. Me, Robbie delivers when he's at Hearts. Whether we like it or not, eyes dull, he's boring, but he's literally finished top of the championship, 3rd in the Premiership, left us 2nd, won the championship. You give him easy or sort of bare minimum target type things, he's pretty good at delivering them for Hearts. He's got a 53% win rate in the top flight. We've won 10 out of 11 out of, we're 11 undefeated. By hook or by crook, Robbie somehow manages to get Hearts to a point where we win more than we lose. Now, don't get me wrong, right now, after Sunday, the performance in that 4-2-3-1, that worries me. Of course it does. It worries all of us because it just doesn't suit us. But I think Boyce, Giannelli, Gary Mackay-Steven, I think they're more than enough to give us a decent finish in the league. The worry is what we spoke about there. If they get injured, we're far too reliant on them. And my other worry as well is that the last time we were in the top flight, and you guys will remember this as well, is we won, 5 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
And then lost at Hamilton. But then the next game we got absolutely battered at Tynecastle by Aberdeen on the telly. I think it was like 3-0 at half-time to Aberdeen or something like that. And we literally changed the shape from there on in. We stopped this sort of expansive football and we focused purely on becoming difficult to beat. And that's my worry because I didn't want to watch Hearts like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite weird for me because the reason I always talk about things on Twitter is it's always about, I know how Hearts fans will react. I just do. We usually the same. I'm not saying that I'm the only one that knows. We know how it goes. We lose at Celtic, get a negative result at Paisley and get knocked out of the League Cup. There'll be protests. There's no COVID restrictions. People are still angry at the ownership of the club. People are still angry at Levine. People are still angry at Budge, Robbie, Brora. People are still angry. And any negative results or opportunities to come out the woodwork, they're going to come out. Like, there's no point pretending that they're not. They are. They're going to come pouring out. And that's what worries me. And that's why I've said it's always risky because we could go 10 undefeated, lose the 11th, and all hell will break loose because that's what happens when managers go past that point in no return. But for me, I think, do you know what? Fuck it. We've been shite for ages. I don't think we'll be shite in the Premier League. I don't see. You're saying we'll finish 7th or 8th, which is totally and utterly fine. But are we better than St Mirren? For me, yes. Better than Dundee United, yes. Better than Dundee, yes. Better than Motherwell, yes. Ross County, yes. Is Hamilton still in the league? I don't know. Whoever else is still in the
Livingston league or something.
Yes. You're looking at Aberdeen, unknown. St Johnstone, I don't think they'll have anywhere near the season they had last year. Celtic and Rangers are always going to be above us. So I'm looking at Aberdeen and Hibs and thinking, right, well, Aberdeen are going to be an unknown, and Hibs for me will be Hibs. Do you know what I mean? They'll win a few good away games and then they'll lose to at home and they'll lose derbies and that. So I think we'll have more than enough to compete if everybody stays fit. So there we go. I'm saying 4th. I don't think we'll finish any lower than 4th.
Then again, that's just blown my mind. That whole bit you've just went through there, Corbett, has actually just blown my mind because we started off really positively. I was actually looking about to find out where the real Liam Corbett was.
I know. I'm just
of course,
I'm looking at this bottle, figuring out how much of it I've actually drank.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. So from that point of view, I just didn't care what was going on. Then all of a sudden, you turned around to being the normal Liam, and then all of a sudden, you went back to being happy Liam. Honestly, you must be absolutely sugared out your nut tonight.
I told you. The Liam that talks about the negative stuff is because we know there's no point kidding on. It will happen. It will happen. There will be a series of negative results or events that will end up with what I've just described, no matter what happens. So that's how I think we'll finish. I think we'll finish no worse than 4th. We've got to, or like I've said before, and I'll keep using the stat because it's an eye-opener. If we don't finish in the top 4 this season, this becomes the standalone second worst run ever in the club's history. Since 1874, this will be the second longest run we've failed to finish in the top 4 positions in the top flight in Scotland. That can't happen for Hearts. Like I said, we need to stop rewriting our history in a negative way. Right, let's end it with season predictions like we did last year. Can anybody remember who won the season predictions for last year?
We don't have to remember. I've brought it up because it's on the website. So joint top were Brads and Tam on 15 points. Then Ando, Corbett and Kev all joint second place on 10 points. And Shanks propping up everybody with fuck all. He got not a single prediction thing.
The league. He said we wouldn't win the league, we'd finish second. The usual
they're all there to view on the website. But yeah, so Brads and Tam joint winners.
Right, Ando, you remind us then, what are the criterias for
The
this?
criteria are, so where will Hearts finish in the league for the season? Who will be the player of the season? Who will be the top scorer? Who will be the best signing? Who will be the worst signing? How many trophies will we win? And who will be the manager at the end of the season? Right, so you've heard the categories, and we'll go around everybody now and see what your predictions are. So, Corbett, I'm coming to you first. Where will Hearts finish in
What
the
are the
league?
categories again?
Where will Hearts
Look.
where will Hearts finish in the league? What will be our final position? Now, you've kind of hinted already it will be no less than fourth. All right, cool.
Yeah, 4.
Who is going to be your player of the season?
Liam Boyce.
Top scorer?
Liam Boyce.
Best signing?
Liam Boyce. Did he sign this?
No, he
I don't
didn't. But
know. Fuck, we've not signed
no, we
anybody.
haven't.
Josh Ginnelly.
Josh Ginnelly.
There you
Okay,
go.
fair enough. Worst signing?
That fucking cheesy.
Sound. And how many trophies will Hearts win?
None.
Right, okay, fair enough. Manager at the end of the season.
Robbie Nielsen.
There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve the right to revisit the best and worst signings. We can maybe look at this at the end of the transfer window, and we can shoehorn in. If we do actually get any signings, we can go back and revisit this. But as it stands just now, that's fair enough. Tam, over to you. Where will Hearts finish in the league?
Well, I said 5th earlier, but I have 4th written down on my pad here. So after Corbett's spiel, I'm going to go 4th.
Happy clapper.
He's turned me.
Fair enough. Okay. Player of the season?
GMS.
Top scorer?
Boys.
Best signing?
Signed professionally in May. Finlay Pollock.
Okay, fair enough.
Nice look. Take it.
Exactly. Good weasel in there, Tam. Worst signing?
That cheesy.
Fucking hell. All right. How many trophies?
0.
And manager at the end.
Nielsen.
Okay. And Kevin?
Okay.
Finish in the league.
I put 7th.
Okay, fair enough. Player of the season?
Player of the season will be Boyce.
Okay. Top scorer?
Will also be
Best
Boyce.
signing?
I believe will be Gino, subject to change.
Okay. Worst signing, also subject to change.
That cheesy.
Fair enough. How many trophies will Hearts win?
0.
Okay. And who's going to be the manager?
I'm actually put down not Robbie.
Not Robbie. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to go through and ask myself the same questions. The answers are all the same as Kev, except the final one will be manager at the end of the season. I think will be Nielsen. So I think we're all pretty much on the same player. The same page. Player of the season is a mixture of Boyce and Gino. The top scorer inevitably will be
That's
Boyce.
a GMS actually,
but your opinion doesn't matter.
But you changed it all because I was positive, and you have to be the happy clapper.
The best signing is going to be Ginnelly. The worst signing is that cheesy.
Wait, I was just going to say I'll read Shanks' predictions.
Oh, has he texted them in? Has he? Right, I know. Go on it.
Aye.
I'll read them
Go.
out. I'll read them out.
Right.
So Crookie has put 5th. Player of the year will be Craig Gordon. Top scorer will be Liam Boyce. Best signing will be Gino. Worst signing is that cheesy. Manager at the end of the year was Paul Hartley for some strange reason.
What?
Trophies, Shanks believes we will win the League Cup.
Okay. And he also thinks Paul Hartley will be the manager at the end of the season.
the current manager of Cove Rangers.
Do we want Bradley's predictions?
Yes, I will read them out for you right now, Kev.
Away.
Or on you go then.
Brad's has us as 6th. Player of the year, Boyce. Top scorer, Boyce. Best signing to be confirmed, Gino. As in, obviously, if they have more signings. The worst signing is... he's actually went different from us. No, he hasn't. He's went cheap. Manager, Robbie. Trophies, none. So, there we go. There we go. I've just realised that the special guest for episode 52 is that cheese. and he's going to be absolutely raging. He's going to be so angry when he comes on.
Is that going to be the show name for this one?
I think we've sorted that ourselves. Right. Cool.
Well, at least we had a laugh at the end of the show.
Exactly.
Footnote at the start to say, tune in to the end for some actual power. Cool. Right. So as always, we will. It's a late kickoff on Saturday.
It is. It's 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
So we will be live reaction after the opening game of the season, and then we'll be back to the usual pod on Tuesday.
Are we sure?
Hopefully.
Are we sure we're doing a live reaction? I'm going to be more than half canned.
Aye. No, let's try.
On Saturday night.
Let's try it.
All right, fuck
Let's
it.
Try.
Let's go.
I know. Aye. See you after the game on Saturday, and we'll be back to usual pod on Tuesday. We should hopefully be able to sort of share some info about special guests and sort of who's coming up and all that sort of stuff over the next few weeks. So again, thanks to everybody. Thanks, boys. See you all next week.
See you later.
See you later.
See you later.
Gorgado.